that happens without usually a whole lot of conversation, it's pretty cool. So, yes, are we paying attention to it? Are we having a conversation that says, man, this can happen regularly? It's pretty cool. So, um, yeah, trying something new there. You just heard an echo pushing these out right away from here to go live on YouTube. So this way here, it may be easier for you guys to have access to that. You can go to the YouTube page. Anyways, so in this understanding, what is your support system? Where does it go? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What are you paying attention to? Where do you need to shore it up? If you started to go across a bridge, I grew up on a farm. There was always one spot in the driveway that would get, quote, soft. And we would have to put a bunch of stones in there regularly. I don't know where the stones were going. I don't know if people from China were taking the stones, right? Because if you dig a hole, it goes down to China. Where does your support system need to be shored up? Where are you looking to have that conversation? Does that make sense? Questions, thoughts, comments? Could you repeat the link again? Yes, Sean G. Murphy now. So if somebody could just type that in there. So I think I can. Let me see if I'm smart enough to do that. So my Instagram is at Sean G. Murphy now. That's my IG account. And then in the profile up by my picture, there's a thing down at the bottom, Telegram. It's like m.daily awakening Sean.com, I think, but it's a hyperlink right there in my profile up on the Instagram page. You click on there and it'll take you over to Telegram and it'll say, do you want to join? And it'll send the links right to your phone. Usually when I update, it'll notify you. You bet, Amos. Thanks for being here, brother. Any other thoughts, comments, conversations, concerns, awarenesses, awakenings?
Just that I needed this call this morning. I kind of thought I didn't, but I got a message from Sienna this morning just to say to be on here. And what it is true about digging the well before you need it. And right now I'm in the middle of that storm with Bailey passing. Because Bailey was a huge... He was my entire support system. So now I'm kind of realizing of these past couple of months that I've been building up this support network of various souls to kind of, I don't want to say plug the gap because no one can fill a Bailey gap, but to sort of reinforce that bridge, so to speak. And it's now that I'm in that middle of the storm that I'm realizing how strong that bridge is, where I need to patch things up. And
so Stacy, listen. Listen, I'm hearing what you said in maybe a way that hasn't appeared to you yet. This support system that's being built and from 2 months ago to 2 days ago to today, do you realize is all still being built and being committed upon and being supported upon and being built upon? All of this is being built upon Bailey. Bailey is still here every day because of the community that's been created and that's going to continue to be created. Really, the only one you have to thank is Bailey. Do you realize that? Because of the path that he started you on and the path that you're now on, there's no way it could ever not be because of Bailey. Now, you're doing all of the actions now. You still get to say thank you to him every single day. And yes, it is a storm. I totally get it. I'm not minimizing any of that. There is all of the things that need to be processed. But even this conversation right now with you is because of Bailey. I don't know that that dog could ever be not here. That energy will never not be here. Again, I've had dogs, I'd have to think about them. Rosebud and Sabaka and Heidi and Napoleon and Duke. And I don't know, I've ever said that. I've said Duke's name a dozen times, and usually it happens when somebody talks about their dog being very protective. Duke broke a chain to come over and protect my mother and sit on somebody's car so that they couldn't leave till I got home. What do you mean sit on their car? Yeah, he made them run so fast they dropped their keys and they got in their car, and he just sat on top of the car. Now, that's Duke. I hadn't thought of Duke in a dozen years, I promise you. Here's the thing. Every time somebody comes into your life, no, that was Bailey's got free reign now to go nudge people into your life. Isn't that cool? How cool is that?
Funny you should mention nudging because
Yeah, very funny.
whenever we're on a walk, I'd be lost in my own thoughts or concentrating on the path ahead, and I would just feel this wet nose on my hands, and I'd turn around and say, "Yeah, I'm okay." And he did that around the house as well. If we were lying on the sofa, if one of us was starting to fall asleep or drift, our focus was drifting away, he would shove his wet nose in our face. He's like, "Yeah, I'm okay." If we were about the house, he'd still do that, and it's just like, yeah.
So now Bella gets to do that. Maybe her nose will be a little warmer and not so wet.
No, none of them are.
So I say all of this to say the joy that you're having right now is because we're not talking about a memory. We're talking about the feeling right now, because you can still feel the wet nose and her wet nose and Bailey's and all of these wet noses. It's the source is a little different, but the source, all of this conversation, it's funny how I should mention such and such about nudging. All of that is still true. All of that is still real. The memories are still real. The awarenesses. And now Bailey's entered into a part of the universe where he's not limited by his dogness. He's limited by, you knew they were human. They were just in this dog shape. You knew they were more highly energetic. Guess what Bailey's doing now? Running around making sure nudging you, nudging people, and nudging things into your life. And don't be surprised there's going to be some things you thought you needed that are gone, because Bailey's like, we don't need that anymore. We never needed that. I don't know why the hell you had that thing. Whatever, right? So it's absolutely wildly amazing. And I don't know, that's one of the things that is always a huge challenge is about all of the physical world things that we may miss out on. They entered into a higher vibration. They can't not be there in this conversation. We make him here. And so that energy will always be there, and it continues to grow. Now it's taken on a much larger shape of awareness. And you can ask, you know this as well as I do. You can ask. So I wonder where you're at in the house, and you'll hear something shift. You'll hear a little noise. You'll hear, and you go, "Oh, did I just hear that?" It's the universe. It's very cool. It's still wildly raw and wildly rough. Yet there's these moments, like you just said, the wet nose, you giggled, you laughed. That's him being there going, whenever you were sad before, I was there. And when you've become sad now, he's still there, wet nose and all.
So maybe the question to ask is, given that Bailey's taught you the value of a wet nose and nudging, what has to happen in your future? What needs to be there? What do you need to believe? What you need to do? Who needs to be around you? What all has to happen for you to protect and maintain and preserve that value that Bailey taught you about being nudged with a wet nose. And when you come up with that prescription in a way that you really feel good about it, and it persists with you, it's likely that Bailey taught you, kind of nudged you down a particular path. It just might take a little introspection to think about, what needs to happen in your life. What do you need to put in place to preserve that value that Bailey taught you, that Bailey offered you? There's a way in which you think about that.
The
It's
things
likely
that are currently coming to mind are to be surrounded by loving souls, but to have them remind me of that connection that they have with me, because I can be so blindsided in all the pain that I'm in, and use the term drunk monkey. I'm going to use the term little devil, or little demon diva, with constant negative bias. When I'm swamped in that, there is no kind of actually, I forget about the people who are there for me, and I need that reminder. I mean, it might not just be like, are you okay, sort of thing. It might just be a little message of like we do with the free messages, or I was just thinking about you, or just sending a picture, things like that. That little reminder that there are people there that do care, that I need to keep fighting the old paraquat, and to develop the new paraquat and go forward to those people.
So
But I
you need
also
to build,
realize that I can't
need to-
rely on a single person.
so what needs to happen is you need to build in a support system of people that can nudge you the way Bailey did, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. If I have to go get a wet nose. This is it. Isn't it powerful how again, I don't know where these things come from. I know they, as Bob said, it's revealing the geography of my mind. And if you go back and spend 266 hours with me by watching all of these videos, there would probably be a large map of who actually I am. Yet in all of these conversations, it doesn't matter how weird the word is, or how out of just absolutely. We spent a couple of days talking about depression one time, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to talk about that. That's like talking church and politics, religion and politics in the same conversation. And it's just, you don't ever do that. But that conversation was so valuable to so many people, and it was so very important. It's when part of my support system is to let go of what I believe is valuable, yet most of it all comes through this source called me. So there are things that are revealing of my geography, and revealing of me, of my weaknesses and strengths, and where I want to be in this moment. So it's still hard to say, all right, we'll talk about that. It's almost impossible to say that, yes, we're going to talk about something valuable like that without it coming from my perspective. As Bob said, it reveals part of the geography of your existence. And you get to show up on maps going, I wonder where Sean's going to talk to us from today. and yet from where I'm speaking from, you sometimes, and more often than not, lands where you're at. and allows perception and perspective to be taken from your side of the map. So I'm always in awe of these calls and how they just unfold and flow. And again, Bailey shows up, but we got to see Bella. And this whole call to me comes down to, where's the next wet nose going to poke you from? I mean, isn't that what moves us all? And the wet nose is the same wet nose, but it has a lot more impact on us. Imagine if you were sleeping and that wet nose pokes you. And it pokes you on your side, and it's like really, really cold, and your side is really, really warm under the covers. And it's the same wet nose. It just freaks you out even more, right? My puppy Beamish will just sometimes just doesn't poke me with his nose until I'm awake or start licking me. But his nose is like, you feel the warm breath of it. And it's like, what is that? And depending upon, what he just licked or ate. So there you go. Anyone want to share anything you learned, anything you like? Bob, always thank you for participating, brother. I know I can. Oh, you are a significant part of my support system for helping. If you start to hear me and you know this, you can feel this. We've never had this conversation. If there's a rambling going on in me, filling space or a quietness, it's not that you're looking to fill the space or to move a conversation in a different way. It's here's a perspective that needs to show up. So always thank you for following your nudges, your wet noses that have you share. I appreciate that. Anyone else? What'd you learn? What'd you like? Well, there you go. Go be a wet nose in somebody's life and maybe start with your own. Yeah. Thank you for an amazing Saturday call. I appreciate y'all. I'm Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits, and I'll see y'all Misfits where? At the next event. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.